Hello everybody, I'm Novi and welcome back to the channel. Throughout the course of a wrestler's career, public opinion on them shifts up and down very often. People could think of them as best in the world caliber one year and then mid-card the next. That trend is very comparable to stocks with their constant rising and falling, which is exactly what we're going to do today. We're turning wrestlers into stock, and we're asking, has their stock risen or fallen within the last year, and how do I see that trend going in the future? This video is all about AEW wrestlers, but I'm very open to doing other promotions too, so just let me know down in the comments below. But before we dive into Wall Street, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for live streams every Wednesday before Dynamite and new videos every Saturday, just talking grabs. First, let's talk about timeless Toni Storm, a very divisive character among the AEW audience right now. At the character's inception, I think most people's thoughts were that they were willing to give it a chance. It wasn't an AEW character as they're usually known, so I understand everyone who was skeptical at the time. However, I won't lie though, I was fully on board with it and I actually thought the segments were pretty funny. That is, as long as they didn't try too hard, like the silent films. With time though, I think that they honed it in and started rightly doing more backstage and live stuff, which actually made the presentation pretty great to me. I get that that's maybe a hot take because this kind of character just isn't for everyone, but that's not what I want to focus on because it's not really my issue with Toni. What I really want to focus on is just how bad Toni Storm's matches have been under this new persona. We're multiple months into her reign with a handful of title matches to use as a reference, and I can confidently say that she hasn't gotten much better at working as timeless Toni Storm. She clearly struggles to find the balance between shtick and actually good wrestling, and it makes all of her matches worse overall. I've talked about it a few times on this channel, but her match with Deonna Purrazzo at Revolution is a great example. Even though they got the dynamic wrong with who the heel and face should be, which left them starting on the back foot, I think the work was just pretty bad overall nonetheless. I think even if you like or dislike the timeless Toni character, I think people can respect how much effort she's putting in. But in AEW, your in-ring has to be up to that standard, or you're just not going to get to that next level because fans appreciate good in-ring work. And Toni Storm, as timeless Toni Storm, just isn't very good in the ring. That's the reason why I think her stock has dropped, and it's why I'm selling it before it drops even more. I was willing to be patient and hopeful that the in-ring would come along, but it just unfortunately hasn't, and I'm not sure that it ever will. Next up, let's talk about Kris Statlander, who for my money is the most consistently great women's wrestler in AEW. If there's one thing I don't like about American women's wrestling, it's that they don't hit hard enough. They're not stiff enough. But not Kris Statlander though. I think her offense is always so hard hitting, it's so tight and it's so forceful, and I love that about her. I'd also say that her selling is an underrated, but notably great part of her work overall that really makes it come together. Because of those two factors of her work, I don't think that I can remember a single match of hers where she didn't elevate her opponent. Go back and see what she did with Sky Blue, Layla Hirsch, Britt Baker, and especially Julia Hart at WrestleDream. That match was so good, it had us all convinced that Julia Hart had taken a gigantic step as a wrestler. But as time has passed, I think it's become clear that it's not solely because of Julia, and a lot of that credit has to go to Kris Statlander. I want to make it very clear that that's not a knock on Julia Hart. I thought she put in a great performance, and she's still very young and has a lot of time to learn. It's more so a compliment to Statlander and how productive all of her matches are. I think undoubtedly you have to say that Kris Statlander's stock is on the rise. And when you consider that she has a heel turn with actual juice looming, I know that I'd buy in right now. Yo, it's time to talk about the Acclaimed. I don't know if there's any better way to represent my feelings on the Acclaimed other than I'm tired. I 100% respect how over they got. They got some of the loudest reactions in all of the company during a time, and that is something else. But it's been a long time since I've gotten reactions like that, and it comes to a point where an act has just ran its course, and this act ran its a long time ago. Their segments stopped being funny, and I think you can make the argument that they never were. Their matches are very bland and heartless right now. They're holding the trios belts hostage like it's time to wrap it up. That's all without mentioning Max Caster's "Look, I own the marks" stuff on Twitter that just fucking stinks. So yeah, it's definitely time to sell all of your Acclaimed stocks if you haven't already. But if you do still have them, sell them, take the loss, it doesn't matter, just get rid of them because the Acclaimed are finished and I can't do it anymore with them, I'm sorry. I expected Adam Copeland's run in AEW to be good, but I don't think I ever expected it to be this good. It feels like he's genuinely a completely revitalized wrestler, working with a heart and soul he just didn't have in his last WWE run to me. The new environment, new challenges, and new expectations has forced him to step up his work in a big way, and I think he's absolutely answered that call. And maybe one of the best things about this run is exactly what I mentioned, the heart and soul part of his work, because especially in his match with Christian this week on Dynamite, it looked like he was just having a blast out there. His match with Christian this week on Dynamite was a pretty great example of why I love Adam Copeland right now, and it's because he just looks like he's having a blast out there. Hockey fights, ladder spots, and a gash on the head had that man grinning from ear to ear, and it was infectious. In that match, as I'm sure many of you know, he won the TNT title, and I'm really excited for that run because his work with younger talent so far has really been great. Which, yeah, is exactly how I expect this TNT title run to go. I think he is going to work a lot of young talent, and I think it's going to be really good because of it, because he just makes them elevate too. Not to mention that in those matches he's already had with younger talent, he still maintains that having a blast attitude I mentioned earlier, and that's added so much to them. So I'd absolutely be buying Adam Copeland stocks right now, because to me, it feels like he's just getting started. AEW has long been known to handle legends of our industry better than anyone else, and I think when it comes to Adam Copeland, that's been no different. Who's ready to sell their stocks on Adam Cole, baby? Well, I know I am after the 2024 and end of 2023 he's had. Ever since his ankle exploded at the most unfortunate of times and in the most unluckiest of ways, Adam Cole's aura has gone down to 0. I'm sure plenty of you have seen this as well, but I think the reason for that is because he's coming out in a wheelchair. And simply put, I don't think that does anything to make your supposed top heel group look like more credible threats at all. Just this guy who's supposed to be this evil devil, we had this whole story going for like 8 months, and now he's getting pushed around in a wheelchair trying to look menacing, but instead that just makes him more of a dork. He's not a leader in his current state, and that's not really his fault, but it hurts his perception nonetheless. He also feels like someone who's been hurt by the arrival of Okada and Ospreay, because that means Adam Cole has been pushed down the totem pole of main eventers. So for all those reasons, I'm absolutely selling my Adam Cole stocks right now. But if you're willing to hold on to them for quite a while, I'd look for a rebound on that price. There's a chance that when he comes back all healed up, he regains his aura by just being a good heel worker, which he is known to be. Don't get me wrong, that's not me saying that it's likely, but it is possible given his talent. It could truly go either way, and I do want it to go well because I like seeing wrestlers do good work on TV, but I think I've just lost too much faith to say firmly to hold your stock. After rightly kicking out Kenny Missing Dates Omega and that thug Hangman Page, our EVPs Matthew and Nicholas Jackson has recruited Kazuchika Okada to the Elite, forming the new Elite, and I think it's the best iteration of the group to date. If you didn't think so before, this solidifies it. The Young Bucks should be doing nothing else than being shithead heels because that's what they were born to do. They're so great at weaving their well-known charm and humor through their snarky, condescending assholeness, and it makes every single one of their segments so fun to watch. Then you add in Big Kazu, who proved in one segment that his charisma, comedic timing, and his own general assholeness was going to be a perfect complement to what the Bucks are doing. I was very skeptical of how his US run would go, just like everyone else, but now, only a few weeks in, I've completely switched up on that, and I think this run is going to be generational. And honestly, all it took was Okada saying that he was going to buy a Ferrari and making Marvez sing happy birthday to Matt Jackson, or maybe Nick Jackson, but one of the Jacksons, to make me feel that way. All three guys are just doing exactly what they should be doing on TV. But if I haven't made myself clear, I'm absolutely buying up all the Elite stocks right now because I think the price is only going to get higher and higher. Not just because they're going to be doing great stuff on TV, I'm also thinking about Wembley. Say a certain cleaner's healthy, say we get him to match up with a certain Rainmaker in match 5 of that series. If the Elite stock is already expensive, it's only going to get bigger seeing that. But with that Elite praise, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below whose wrestler stocks you think are rising and falling, whether or not I mention them in this video or not. Also, we'll do a little promo. Make sure to tune in Wednesday at 7 p.m. for my weekly pre-show with Novi, where we go over the Dynamite card, answer questions, and do all the normal stuff we do. We actually do exactly what we're doing right now. We talk raps, except it's going to be live, so come check it out. With that though, it's been Novi. Much love to you all. Peace.